want to call it that, but that's really what it is. Regardless, it's crazy because I want to bring up two issues I saw today on social media, of course, Facebook, but social media as well as Instagram. A lot of times I just flip, and it pretty much, this is an intro to the main topic. Because the main topic is basically, it's going to be called how do I put this, elite security over blacks. And the reason why I'm calling it that is because, for one thing, people come into consciousness. The whole purpose of consciousness is to say that you have evolved out of a specific type of behavior. When it shows that you are not respecting yourself. People who have a lack of respect for self, peace, Carlos, that shows the fact that they don't have knowledge of self. If I don't respect myself, that means I don't have, me as a black man, if I don't respect myself, I'm gonna act certain ways towards myself, and I'm gonna act certain ways towards my counterpart, my natural counterpart, the African woman. And this shows, and then vice versa. If I'm a woman and I don't respect myself, I'm going to act a certain way as a woman towards myself, as you know, and then I'm going to act a certain way towards the man. I'm going to bring up two incidences that I've seen recently. I was tagged in a video, and it's funny, I was tagged in this video. It was a porn on Facebook that was being shared like several times. And I was like, why am I being tagged in this? I didn't even know the guy who tagged me, but it was funny because I was like, okay, let me look at this. And so don't even look at porn. You know what I'm saying? And so next thing I know, I'm tagged in this thing where he's asking me, so Ali, what is your opinion? And it's a video where a white man is basically choking a black woman, and he's spitting in her face, and I'm looking at his thing was, what he did was he inboxed me, and he asked me, he said, what do you think, not so much of the video but the comments? Because I read the comments, and basically it was one black woman, and she said, well, that's a fetish for, really not for the man but for the woman, to want to be disrespected that way. She likes to be talked to that way. She likes to be beaten up. She likes to be choked out. She likes to be spit on. And I said, well, any woman that wants to be beaten on and spit on doesn't respect herself, so she lacks knowledge of self. That's about the the base definition of it, is respect of self. And now he said, but no, what do you think about the comments? I said, well, there was one sister in there that was like, well, that's just a fetish, so it's not that deep. Basically, that's what she's saying. It's not that deep. And it was one brother. No, it wasn't one, but it was several brothers, because most of the comments came from brothers. And most of the brothers' comments was, she liked it. The bitch liked it. These are brothers saying this. And I was like, wow. You know, he's like, well, look, you know, one of them was like, Hotel Wild Suge Morris. And one of the brothers was like, well, yeah, that's a fetish. You know what I'm saying? They, you know, and then one brother was like, well, she probably deserved it. I was like, wow, she deserved it? So I said, wow. I mean, this is just, you have to just look at people when they respond to stuff. This gives you an idea of how we think. Sleep or no sleep, because these are conscious brothers and sisters. It was in a group that is supposed to be a conscious group. It wasn't a John Henry Clark group or anything like that, but it was a group. It was a conscious group. And the whole thing was basically, how do you diagnose the sister? How do you diagnose her activity in the video? I'm like, well, you can't. Only way you can diagnose that is an extreme form of self-hatred. To allow a man to treat her that way, and to be around white men anyway. But just for that extreme form of, and then porn, first of all, that's sexual insanity. You know, Baba Baruti talks about that. That's sexual insanity. Hey Keisha, how you doing, sister? You know, you can't make excuses for that. But then the fact that brothers is basically saying that that's, you know, that's cool. You know, what you mean? What's that's, you know, she probably deserved the shit. You know, and one, I think the last comment was basically, you know, that's what the bitch get for getting getting into white porn. I said, ooh, it's deep. And yeah, self-hatred. But it's self-hatred all over the place. It wasn't just self-hatred from the sisters, self-hatred from the brothers. Because if you hate the black woman, you hate yourself because you came from her. And if you hate the black man, and you as a black woman, and you're choosing to be in an extreme porn like that, porn period means you are over-sexualizing yourself. Because in this society, we over-sexualize everything. That's based upon European construct. Yeah, exactly, sister. There's no excuse for none of that shit. I'm just sitting there saying to myself, like, wow, like, I thought we progressed as a people, but we didn't. Because that's like a lot of times consciousness is a cover-up for a deep-seated self-hatred that we still have towards each other. When you say things like the bitch deserved it, you know, she getting a face set on. I mean, it's all types of shit. I mean, because he like condensed it. So it's like, I'm saying to myself, the brother that made this video, I'm like, damn, you took time to make this video, didn't you? I'm like, you sat up and condensed this, and you why did you ask my opinion of this? But I gave my opinion, and then it basically escalated into me saying I made excuses. I said I didn't make no excuses for nobody. It was self-hatred on both sides. Okay, it was self-hatred from the brothers in the comments, and it was self-hatred from the sister being in a video like that to allow herself to be disrespected. Bottom line, there's no way of really putting that no other way. What other way are we going to put that? Now, the sad reality is this. That's stuff that happens through social media all over the place. Now, I'm going to go into, so I'm talking about in terms of black people. And I'm going to go into on the women's side. There's several, that was just self-hatred coming from black men on black women, but all over the place, male and female. But it's another situation. These are reason why I'm bringing these things up. These are microcosms of how we think, and that we have not gone into how we think. See, we equate consciousness with growing locks, getting the unk. You know, it's like the conscious starter kit, as they make the memes. You know, you get the unk, you get, you might wear a dashiki. You might get some shea butter. you get the, you might have some SETI play in the background or some Dr. So you don't really address the self-hatred in your brain. You just changed somewhat. But let me go into the sister's side that I keep noticing. These are self-proclaimed black feminists. See, me, I'm a person that just deals with truth. I'm not worried about your emotion. I can give a shit what you think about what I'm about to say, but this is real. Every time I turned around on social media, because I don't really post as much as I used to. I like to read really where we are, because then you can make that's the measuring stick. Yes, it's the shea butter movement, but it wasn't just black feminists. It was black women that was doing this, and it was getting kind of sad, because I'm like, y'all must hate black men real bad. But let me get to the point. Every post that I read was a sister saying, black men with no ambition is unattractive. He ain't got no job. Even if he got a job and it's part-time, he ain't shit to me. Why don't I lay up in the bed with a nigga who ain't got no job? This was like a constant post for the past 2 days, from Monday up until today. Every post said this. And it was one brother, I think it was one sister, it don't matter who it is, but it was just so many. He got on there and was like, damn, do you hate black men? Because this is all you talk about. And she's like, well, that's not what I said. What I said was men with no ambition. And because you could, how when we type, we yell, when we make everything all caps, that's you yelling. And so I'm saying, what goes on through a sister's mind to every time you turn around, you're throwing black men under the bus? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the, okay, what is the end? What is the end game of what you're doing? Exactly where are you trying to get to as a black woman by throwing your natural counterpart under the bus? Because she, and I commented, I'm like, okay, I can understand what you're saying, but at the same time, if you don't throw in systematic racism, disenfranchisement, as well as slavery, as well as integrate, if you don't put in all those factors of the problem, then exactly what are you talking about? He said, sorry, no job. Sarah said, no job beats no sense any day. Yeah. I may have to say it like that, but what I'm saying is that I'm not making excuses for brothers. What I'm saying is exactly what are you saying as a sister? Because that same argument that I've seen us do, that I've seen the sisters do, is when I go and troll on stormfront.org, which is a white supremacist website. I even go on Niggermania. Yeah, there's a website called Niggermania. Damn. They have the same arguments. See what black feminists don't understand is that what's funny is you have these arguments, but you rebuttal the same arguments that white people have about us. They're on the websites. I can bring you to the websites, and they have the same arguments. They say genetically black men have not come up since slavery. They have not come up from slavery. Their intelligence is to a certain level. They are naturally animals, and they can't do anything. They don't really want a job, so they're naturally degenerates. And I said, wow. And so the argument is mirrored. And I looked at that and I said to myself, so basically what black feminism is nothing but a mirror image of white supremacy. Because you're not attacking white men and white women, you're attacking your man. And that's very disrespectful. That's self-hatred to a T. That's beyond cooning. I mean, you a coon when you do that. But that's beyond cooning. Because you're saying that it's cool to throw black men under the bus, but you don't want to go into the factors that create that type of situation. See, I'm a community health worker, so I'm able to look at and see who's unemployed. Sarah Sanders said it's independent woman movement. It causes women to feel that they don't need a man, but to appease the loneliness, they down the man. I mean, independent women movement starts from Willie Lynch. That's in the Willie Lynch letters. The whole diagram is to how to make a woman independent by breaking down the man. So any black woman who calls herself independent is actually mirroring the Willie Lynch letter. You know, that shit is ridiculous. I'm actually going to do a whole, by the way, I'm going to do a whole class on black feminism period, by the way, starting in the 1890s up until the 90s, the 1990s and 2000s. I'm going to put a whole timeline on it. It's going to be very extensive. But anyway, when sisters do that, they're mirror imaging white people, whether you're black feminists or not. So you're really contributing to the problem when you demonize black men. It makes no sense to do things like that. That's the same thing as me sitting up there saying, damn, every time I turn around, I see a black woman pregnant. You know, she ain't got no job. She getting food stamps, and she buying Coronas with it, and she buying Kool-Aid and fried chicken. Wouldn't I sound like a self-hitting nigga if I said some shit like that? I would sound really bad. See, this is a call to attention because the next thing I'm going to get into, before I get into the main thing, I'm just attacking issues right now. But the main thing I'm going into now is another group I was thrown into recently. And it was funny. It was like, basically the topic was this. They said that the whole topic was based on a lot of brothers who said that, you know, feminism was bad for the black family as a whole. Which I said, okay, it's starting off good. And they said that too many brothers used Margaret Sanger as their excuse. And I said, but that's a good argument. And so what and this was a black man's post. And he said that, well, I feel that eugenics is necessary. It was a black man saying this. He said that he felt that we should get rid of a certain amount of black men that are either pimps, drug dealers, or just deadbeat dads don't take care of their, or, just men that aren't doing anything, don't have a job. He felt like they should basically like almost exterminate that group. And there was a lot of black women who were in agreement to this. And so I said, wow, so when Dr. Ray Higgins talked about a Wade Lynch chip, I said, he was not lying. I said, it's like a virus. When, David Banner said a virus. You take away the natural mind of a person and you upload a virus. That's a very parasitic mind to think like, okay, we're just going to get rid of this whole group just because we should do that. Just because, they're the undesirables of our race. And he said, that brother's misinformed. Any man or woman can have a transformation of the mind. You're right. You're right about that. But when you have a person who is self-hating, they don't look at shit like that. They don't think, well, a person can change. You know what I'm saying? I've seen success stories myself where brothers and sisters who you thought were just like, man, they don't want it. Next thing you know, they teach in class. That the prostitute is our sister. You know what I'm saying? The drug dealer is still our brother. You understand? That's still our brother out there, man. You got to realize we're at war. And when you don't realize we're at war, you say, well, that's a damn excuse. You making everything extreme. You got to realize we are at war. We've been going through war since slavery. We're casualties of war being brought up in a disenfranchised position. So you're going to have every once in a while a group that may come up and be somewhat successful, quote unquote, in white supremacy, meaning making a certain amount of money. But for the most part, we're all still dealing with this situation in a position that we're in because that's what we've been planned to be placed in. You understand? So we're in a foreign situation that, it's like when we're not putting everything in its proper context, then we can easily say, you know what, we can talk about this person and talk about that person, and we can just get rid of our people. There's a lot of black people who feel like the fact that I'm reading that and you ask them that, a lot of us think like white people. And see, when people say that, people think like that's a joke. I'm like, no, that's dead ass serious. There's a lot of black people who really feel like we should really find a way to start all over. Because the whole post was based upon black people starting all over. Start from scratch, keep the desirables, the most successful of the group. And see, you don't get that type of talk in any other group on the planet other than you had white people with eugenics, white people, and black people. White people didn't mind getting rid of their undesirables, but the main point was to get rid of the black race in the United States. That's what the whole point of eugenics was about. But when you think of foreigners understand when you don't raise a person right or you put them in a really bad environment, certain factors are going to happen to that person, to that individual. They're going to grow up in a very bad environment. It's going to happen naturally. That's socialism. I mean, that's sociology. Fidel Castro said, indeed, I used to be a black devil. I was lost and now I'm found. Only unredeemable is a white devil. Exactly. White devils are what the hell they are. That's exactly what it is. Ain't no reformation for white folks. We ain't playing that game. But the whole thing is that we have to get to a point where we have to look at every factor that goes into why we're in the way we're in. But when you don't do that, you cannot call yourself conscious. If all you're about is disrespecting black people and constantly making, remarks against black men, I don't have any respect for you. You understand? Consciousness is the first step to consciousness is to have respect for self. I keep repeating that. You understand? It's to have respect for self, and then if I respect myself as a man, I'm going to naturally respect you as the African woman. But if I'm throwing black men under the bus, I obviously don't have respect for myself, because if it wasn't for the black man, you still wouldn't be here either. Without the divine melanin semen, there wouldn't be nobody here. Period. You have to have a man and a woman to have a child. Let's get out of that goofiness and say that no. You have to have a man to have a child. There was a man in your life. And a lot of your sisters that's talking, they had men in their lives. So why would you throw a man under the bus if you had a father? Look at yourself in the mirror and think about what you're going to say before you say it. You understand? I'm pro-black people, not pro-black man, not pro-black woman. I'm pro-black people. So I understand what we're going through. When you walk outside your apartment or your house and you see, or you walk down the street and you go into the hood and you see prostitution, you see drugs, that's something that was planted there. No black woman was born to twerk or born to prostitute herself or be in porn. That's ridiculous. You put her in the right frame of mind, she's God. No black man was born to be a drug dealer or a pimp. That's a product of an environment. When people say product of an environment, they are absolutely correct. But they don't want to put the product of an environment in the right context, because then you're actually giving a reasoning for why a lot of our people do not come up and come together to do for self. That's reality. But to go to the point of what I'm talking about is, the main topic is basically is how they've been able to contain black people as a whole. I want to start off with, we go into security in terms of where we're being monitored, but I can go back to Carter G. Woodson, the man who wrote Miseducation of the Negro. Carter G. Woodson wrote a book called Miseducation of the Negro, but you have to understand something. He was a paid Boule member. You can like it or you not like it. Sigma Pi Phi member. And the book that he wrote was from the perspective of a man that was miseducated. And he signed off on the miseducation purposely of black people. When you don't understand that and you constantly keep throwing Carter G. Woodson up on your shoulders and you champion him, and you find out that he signed off with the rest of the whites to put us in the position that we're in educationally, then you keep saying, yeah, he was this great author. Yeah, he wrote a great book. But at the end of the day, he sided with white people the same way Du Bois sided with white people. You got to realize, when they miseducated black people purposely, which means that when the Rockefellers, Rothschild, Rosenwald, Carnegie's, when they all paid for black education in the 1920s up until the 1960s, when they built those black schools and they put all those whites to educate us in those schools, they was doing that purposely to contain us mentally. And the black elite signed off on that. That's called black containment. This is public record. That's why I say go online and you find a book called Bridges and Boundaries. One day I'm gonna show you the book to look this up. You got Bridges and Boundaries and a book called The Negro in Our History, where they give you the estimated amount of money that blacks were basically miseducated purposely, from the Du Bois to the Ida B. Wells Barnett to the Carter G. Woodson to the George G.M. James. Yeah, George G.M. James. From the man who wrote Stolen Legacy. He's all that group of the talented temp. These were the black elites who basically came in and said, because they had guaranteed. This is from also Steve Coakley. For those who want to go online and look up, he also did further research on this 20 years ago. But basically, they came in and co-signed the basically miseducation of black people. And this is on these are estimated numbers of millions and millions of dollars that went into black education, because again, whoever pays for your education, they are basically containing you mentally. Whoever pays for your organization, they have a say-so in your organization. Just like whoever pays for your education, they have a say-so in your organization. Because you got to realize, when you do your research, you got to realize from The black college, from the HBCUs all the way down to the grammar schools, it was all white teachers, all white officials, all white principals. The staff was white, the education was white. The only thing that was black was the name. And all that was based upon the money from, like I said, from the Carnegies. Carnegies gave less than over $5 to $10 million starting. And then the Rockefellers, they were the ones to start the whole fund. John D. Rockefeller Jr., the same man who, is funny, John D. Rockefeller Jr. was the same man who funded the eugenics movement to start it off. He gave Margaret Sanger the startup money for it. This is public record. And so we got to fast forward now to where we are today. You got to realize, again, as I mentioned earlier, slavery never existed. It basically took on a new form. You see slavery in front of you on social media every day, from the bashing of black men to the bashing of black women. And so when you go online and you look at what's being said, all this is, as I talked before, the shock value of already seeing yourself in a basically degenerate situation. You hate yourself so much that the only thing you have time to talk about is how much you hate yourself. Or how much you hate black women, how much you hate black men. So there's no end to that. It always continues because mentally you don't see an end to your subjugation. You don't see it ever ending. You see it forever. You see yourself as a slave for the rest of your life. Even if you're not even in chains, you will always be a slave because you will never get out of where you are because you've been contained by the same people who wanted to exterminate you. The Rockefellers, again, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, all these people, even the black elites. So we trickle down now to 2016 and we got Donald Trump in office now. And what's really funny is, as you know, I saw YG talk about, man, cooning is just like at an all-time high. I'm like, yeah, but it's beyond cooning, because when you get to a point where you got Kanye who comes out, and it's crazy because all we talk about now is Kanye with the blonde hair. And it's funny because he didn't look like the regular coon Kanye. He got to a point of MK Delta level. Because people don't understand, you can go back to the Panthers. Huey P. Newton was purposely drugged with MK Ultra by Elaine Brown. Elaine Brown's grandfather was in the Boule, and she was connected to the Boule as well as the FBI, as well as Angela Davis I talked about earlier. So she was a black female splinter cell that was coming in to basically drug Huey P. Newton and basically tear him down within the brain, because this was actually recorded. When he first came out of prison, he was even more revolutionary. He's all about black people. It's all about, on a serious level, of creating an all-black country and military force to protect black people. And then when you had Elaine Brown connected to him, people just thought that was just a natural companionship. But when you look at a lot of his latter interviews towards the end, he was being drugged. And they brought her in to purposely drug him. So it's funny when you deal with Kanye, all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you see him coming out, and you can clearly see on his face he's not the same person. So we beyond that. You can look at him, look at the pictures, look at when he's standing next to Donald Trump. You can tell that there's a difference. You can clearly tell there's a difference, and that's a sad situation, is that, wow, we're getting to that point, because you have to realize the white elite still need the black elite to co-sign and control black people. See, they know, like, you know, with the picture or the video that you saw with Ray Lewis and Jim Brown, you gotta realize Ray Lewis has been Boule for years. The problem is, all he didn't do was get the tattoo. Jim Brown is now, he's now being inducted, because they know, you go back to the 60s, Jim Brown was doing a lot for black people. He was, him and Ali was the one to come together to create that coalition of black athletes, with the Bobby Mitchell and and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and all that, and Dave Robinson, they all came together to create that in the 60s. If you go back, you can see the pictures. Well, they know that was influential into getting black people under one bus. And it's funny. Let me read this, what Kivo said. I don't know what's different for Kanye. I'm not sure what people want from him. It's not like he was revolutionary. What's the purpose of cloning him? He doesn't have a mass black power following. I didn't say it was cloned. I said MK Ultra. It's different between being cloned and being drugged. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't say it was cloned. I said he was drugged. And you can clearly see that there's something wrong with him. There's many black people that have been drugged over the years. MK Ultra is a real phenomenon. If you don't believe me, you can go online and look it up yourself. That's a real situation where it's when it first started. This was an LSD problem. They created a drug out of LSD, and they added certain mixtures to it. I don't know all of it, but they add different mixtures to it, and they took it to a whole different level. And if you go into the drug acid, a lot of chemicals that's in acid is in MK Ultra. They just basically turned it up when they created MK Ultra. But go online and look up MK Ultra for yourself. There's a lot of information on it. It's ridiculous. When they want to control a population, you get those that have the influence. Because even though we called them coon all day for getting with the Kardashian and doing the whole shit, the moment you saw Kanye, the whole timeline lit up about Kanye. I'm talking about all black people. So even, I'm talking about conscious black people. So even when people say, well, he a coon, blah, 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 you still paying attention to him, so they still got you. Even when you said he was a coon, the moment that came out and you saw that picture, you saw the video with him standing next to Donald Trump, just the fact that she was calling him coon, that they knew that your attention was back on something totally different. So they know that they can control the black population through black celebrity. You understand? The black security is black celebrity. You understand? The blue bloods, the Illuminati don't have to do shit to us anymore. All they got to do is put the black athletes out there or the black celebrities, and they know that they can control us mentally and do whatever they want to do to us. It don't make a difference. We can get to the whole point of Rec 84 camps, FEMA camps, and they can come out and buck dance for us, do a whole minstrel show about we're going to this sacred Walmart, and we'll follow them. See, it was really saddening when, to me personally, when the whole Colin Kaepernick thing was going on. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was funny because I was like, wow, it doesn't matter. As many black lecturers that we've had, warrior scholars has been out and been teaching and have been talking about racism for years. The moment one black, well, really mulatto, the one athlete that is perceived as being black come out and does something, just sit on his knee, we reacted to that. That showed how controlled black people are to the elitism of black celebrity. See, we don't know how to turn that off. See, that plays into the fact that they know that we see our lives as being very undesirable. And so all we got to do is look at what we see in terms of the desire of a life. Is the next thing you know, we see one of our, even if, let's say, for example, we already know that Magic Johnson was Boule, and we know that he gave up his son to be sexualized by the blue bloods. It's in their book. I talked about this in the Luciferian conspiracy lecture, that you can go back to the Talmud of the Jews, and you see pedophilia all throughout their book about having sex with 9-year-old kids, 9-year-old boys and girls. It's in their book. I can't make that up. It's in the book. I went through the whole thing. It's actually online. And what was really funny was when we looked at Magic Johnson's son, we was like, yeah, he was given up sexually. It was the same way Michael Jackson was given up sexually back in the 70s. Joe Jackson, that's why if you look into, the old relationship between Joe and Michael, Mike hated his guts. because he gave his son up. He gave Michael up to get to the $200 million club. But going back to what I'm talking about, because this is some serious shit. They know that the moment a black athlete, even with T.I., when T.I. put the whole Black Panther thing on and had the black fist up, we responded to that. You understand? Even though a lot of us was like basically giving him the side eye, we was responding to it. It was sad. I mean, just to see that. And hold on one second, family. I'm gonna put this charger in. But that's the reality, is that if we're really talking about that we're conscious and we all about this and all about that, the first people we will give up is the black athlete. The black athlete symbolizes the control of black people. That's why if you look, it's very hard to get black men to do anything revolutionary as long as you got football going on. As long as you got basketball wives going on. As long as you got love and hip hop going on. You can control the black population. So all they got to do is have a trickle down effect of the money, and they can control black people. So they can usher you into genocide without you even knowing about it. That's why when you see, we're mostly plugged into social media 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We never turn it off. So all you really got to do to do a measuring stick to see where we are is just read comments. You understand? This is a microcosm. You can go outside if you really want to. You can do it to a social gathering. You can go to a movie and ask black people, so what do you feel about this? What do you feel about that? They'll let you know. You understand? That's why when you go online, when the video was posted, Jim Brown basically saying, basically paraphrase, he's co-signing Donald Trump. And so what's really funny was, if you really talk about it, what that means is if Jim Brown, the same man that was helping out the gang members in LA, the same man who was helping out black people in the 60s, helping out black athletes in the 60s, this well-respected black man, he was also hitting colors for. Everybody likes hitting colors. You know what I'm saying? Well, not now. Everybody don't like Terry Nasheed no more. But just the fact that all these accolades that he has, if we can get black people to follow him, then we can do whatever we want to with the black mind to this day. That we have become very predictable in our movements. All they have to do is put that out there. That's it. That's all they have to do. Just put it out there, and they know exactly what to do. Just put out the black celebrity, and they know exactly. That's why when Jay-Z, the subject is black security, and you go back to Jay-Z and Beyonce. First, before I go to Beyonce, go to Jay-Z. When Jay-Z was sporting the whole 5% chain, black people was buck dancing. You know why? Because for a long time, we didn't know what he was. We just he's a great rapper, blah, blah, blah. But the moment he showed that he was semi-pro black, all of a sudden, see, I told you he wasn't boule. Then niggas was buck dancing around Jay-Z after that. But then the moment the picture came out of him being a part of a boule Freemasonic lodge, all of a sudden people got quiet. I'm like, dude, we were saying that. Professor Griff was saying it for years, but you was calling him crazy. And then I had to post a picture on Instagram, and then people now all of a sudden is saying it. Come on, man. But he's been. It's funny because if you go back to the old Dame Dash interview of last year, I think it was late last year, early last year, when he did on Power 105 or whatever, or with Sway, and they asked him, they said, "How come you don't deal with Jay no more?" It's like, dude, Jay got us extorted. Jay got Biggs. Remember they came up with Rockefeller from 3 different people. Remember it was Dame, it was Biggs, and it was Jay. Jay got Biggs extorted for weed. Biggs is doing 3 years, not 3 years. He's doing over 15 years in federal time for weed. Think about that. All 3 of them had the same amount of money at one point. Dame got extorted for nothing. Got most of his money taken from him. And then you had Jay Prince, went through the same situation. You had the situation with Keir Stewart getting, what happened with him. When you're dealing with Chris Lighty, what happened with him. All these become like, and these all these people that I'm mentioning are connected to Jay-Z. Irv Gotti gets extorted. See, people connected that to McGriff, but it was bigger than that. You understand? So you gotta realize Jay's been connected to the Blue Blood Society or 13 Bloodlines for years. The moment he entered the $200 situation, he was able to basically connect himself to all types of benefits, but was able to, when he wanted to squash the rest of the blacks beneath him, he can. He's able to have that power now. Jay is the most powerful man in hip hop. He is the most powerful black man, in hip hop, just to correct myself. But going into Beyonce, it was really funny because Beyonce for a long time was really making very stupid music. Personally to me, I was never really a fan of hers. I thought she was full of shit. But it was funny because 2 years ago or a year ago? It was 2 years ago. I mean, it was a year ago when she did the whole performance and she had the whole, I guess it was a Panther thing she had going on. But what's funny is in the audience, you see gay colors, and no one paid attention to that. Yeah, he had pro-black raps. You're right. It's funny when you look at Beyonce. The moment that came out, all the conscious people was like, "Leave her alone. She's conscious now." And then you saw, when she did the whole video album, and they were like, "Oh, she's Oshun. She had the yellow dress on." I'm like, wow, y'all are really eating this up, ain't y'all? They know exactly what to do to get black people to follow them. We don't know how to be aware when we see certain things to fall back and be more analytical about it. I'm like, all this stuff was done purposely. All these different, everything that they were doing was done because they needed to control the population of black people. They know the moment Beyonce put that black power fist up, and all of a sudden you saw all the black people running behind her. They made consciousness fashionable. They made black power fashionable. The moment she put that on. But if we've been doing it for several years, it doesn't mean anything to black people. But the moment they do it, now they're going to follow suit. That's reality. And so the only solution to this situation is we're going to have to, and this is going to be very difficult to do because we're very tuned in to everything going on. We're going to have to let go of black celebrityism. That's why it's an ism, because it's a system. Like racism, it's a system. We are very much connected to everything that they do. Anytime any one of them come out and says something, all of a sudden, because it was sad. Let's say, take the Lil Wayne incident for example. When Lil Wayne came out and said what he said, it was kind of funny because it showed how much influence he still has. Because we were surprised he said it, and we were outraged, and I was like, "Why are you so surprised? He's been an idiot for years. He just happened to say it out of his mouth." So what exactly did you expect him to say? What did you, even when T.I. got on ESPN and he was saying what he was saying, and I was saying to somebody, I said, you're getting too happy about it because he never said the word black. He never mentioned the word black. He never mentioned race. And what I mean by that is this. The black elites, along with the white elites, made a pact to never mention the word race. As long as you make it ambiguous of what you're doing, that's why we always say we want civil rights and we want equality. We never are specific about our group. And that's the problem. So as long as we're being very general about what we're saying and we're not being specific, then we can continue, or the black elites can continue to get the benefits. And remember, this started back in the 1920s. Once Du Bois and Rockefeller made that pact that Du Bois was never going to mention race, then in starts the black leadership of never mentioning race again, because Marcus Garvey was the man who made everything about race first. And when they eliminated Marcus Garvey, they had to make it where they consolidated. The blacks and Jews can consolidate. But it's funny how I always think about this to myself. Blacks can consolidate with a group of people who was the first people to start the slave trade, the Sephardic Jews. And the fact that you conveniently forgot this because you want to be close to white people. But we're still doing it to this day. And we can go to the Harlem Renaissance movement. The Harlem Renaissance was started, of course, with Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston and all them motherfuckers. But it was really started as a covert movement because you got to realize once the UNIA was destroyed, there was a huge void in the black community. So they had to create something to get black people away from going back to Africa and doing for self and getting them into the arts. And that was what the Harlem Renaissance was. And that was actually funded by the Rockefeller Foundation. You understand? And if you notice, all of the different clubs that they were performing in was white only. It was all white. No black people. So all the Harlem Renaissance was a one big buck dance movement. Period. One big buck dance movement. So we have we have to go into our history. The problem is the only history we want to go into is ancient Kemet. And which is fine, it's cool, but if you really want to do the work, you have to go back to why we're in the position that we're in, and we're gonna have to really take over and push the emotion away for a brief minute. Take the egoism out and be able to break down exactly why we're in the position that we're in, and we continue to be, because we still follow, again, the black celebrityism. See, that's the new, you gotta realize, as I said before, the boule has upgraded. It's no longer mulatto Negroes in suits. It's brothers, shooting 3-pointers and rocking 10 million, 10,000 a show. It's, brothers with the Air Force Ones on. All this stuff is going on. These are the new boule. The boule has upgraded. The problem is we're not being hip to what's going on. And so when we're not able to diagnose what's going on immediately, then we're going to follow suit with what's going on. And that's our biggest problem. So if anyone has any questions, I'm open to it. If anyone has questions in the live chat, I'm open to that too. Let's see. Nothing actually. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, he's not. I could tell you that he's not. No, he's not. It's just a black elite. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. You asking me what is the solution to where we are? The solution is separation. The solution is separation. The solution is separation. The solution is turning the television off. The solution is separation. Separation in terms of getting like minds together and coming up with with ideas and coming up with the one frame of mind of what's going on. The next level is when we consolidate under those right ideas, the same ideas, we're able to be amongst people who are ready to teach our children the right way, because remember, they're still being influenced by these same people. So the first step is to know that the influence is going on. The next step is proper education. We have to be able to educate our people that they need to do for self, and that it's time to be able to unplug from that situation, because we're constantly being inundated with these groups, with these black elites every day. We're influenced by them every day. Even when we say we're not, we are. We always make an excuse for it. And so even if we just individually just say, I'm not going to pay attention to this anymore, that's a start, because we're too invested in it. See, at one point, we was only down for business. We was only down for doing for self. But now we make excuses for it. And so we always find ways and reasons to continue to constantly be connected to black celebrityism. That's why when we say turn the television off, people, it's like it's a foreign language, because we only know one way to really move, and that's connected to television. And so it's time to unplug, and it's time to separate from that. But the thing is that because we're on social media so hard, it's very difficult, because we're constantly being connected to it. We're connected to the black celebrity all the time. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're going to have to cut as black men, we're going to have to separate from the sports. We're going to have to separate from that, because the black elites are all over it. And if we're really trying to solve this problem, we're going to have to be able to spot out those who are the ones who are leading us to genocide, because the FEMA camps are ready. The problem is, all they have to do is get us to be so sedated where we don't even know exactly where we're going. All we have to do is follow whatever the black celebrities say, and we're going to go right along with it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah, you're right. It is. You just answered it. It's a self-check. It's a self-check. That's what it is. It's a self-check. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead. You have to. Why not? This is the thing. If you see it, then if you already know what's going on, there's no more excuse. If you already see it, then it's just time to unplug. Remember, when I said turn the TV off, people, it's like I'm speaking Spanish. Turn the TV off. White supremacy is on the television 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Why are we still watching the television is beyond me. You understand? They know we're still watching the television. They know that they have us plugged up. If we're supreme beings, then we would know it's time to plug out. It's time to unplug. It's time to cut the social media to a minimum too, because you're being monitored. Remember, Facebook itself was created as a means to monitor the human population, and specifically black people, because they were always thinking at some point there was going to be some type of uprising in black people's minds and amongst the black group. So they had to make sure that they were able to dictate what we were going to like,
what we're talking about, what makes us angry, what makes us happy, what makes us sad, who are we with, who's in the relationship with who. All this stuff is being shown, is being said by us. So we're letting them know what we're doing. We're letting them know exactly what we're doing all the time. And these are supposed to be so-called conscious people. So we're still doing what we're doing. We're just acting like we're not. But you're giving them your information, all of it. Even to that extent, we're going to have to calm. And I'm saying this is still the solution. We're going to have to cut down our usage online because the influence is still there. And the information is still being let out to our movements. Even people putting guns in cameras, that's still, you're letting them know what you're doing. Whites don't do that. Other races don't do that. You don't know what's going on in their world unless you sneak in a camera in a white supremacist army. For the most part, you don't know what they're doing, but you know that they're preparing for something. We're not preparing for nothing. Only thing we're preparing for is the next Beyonce video and hopefully Jay-Z come out with another album. That's what we're preparing for. And that's reality. And let me go to the next question. From Kivo, he said, how do you think these celebrities can hold on to their ambition and career as well as be pro-black with the enemy issues they face? From BS black people, BS friends, everyone wants something. Some of them really want to be great. They don't feel like sellouts. That's a tough deal. No, but they know they're sellouts. Kivo, they know they're sellouts. They know what they're doing. The whole point of it is to sell out. That's what you're doing when you're buying into when the elites buy you, when the blue buds, when the 13 bloodlines buy you, you're being bought out. You're being sold. It's like a slave. So you know exactly what you're doing, because the smart black man will start his own company. You understand? I don't care. Even if you're selling your stuff out the trunk of your car, you're not nobody's slave. You're doing what you can do to make your own money out of your own art form. But we know, you got to realize it's the same thing with the Harlem Renaissance. The only thing that they were missing was the capital from the elites to start the Harlem Renaissance. They got the money to start the Harlem Renaissance from the Rockefeller family. So to this day, even in rap, the record companies, the only thing black people need is white money. And so that keeps the perpetual motion of slavery going on and continual buck dancing. But to go back to the solutions, we're going to have to unplug. And we're going to have to cut whatever TV watching to a minimum. Dr. Francis Chris Welsing said we're going to have to turn the television off and read a book. It's about as basic as that. People think that that's just too basic. Yes, it is very basic, because you've lost your way to the point where the only thing that you feel like you can do is go online and have frivolous conversations, back and forth, fighting each other online, threatening each other online. I'm like, yeah, the Wayland's chip has truly upgraded to where we are now. Literally, to the point where when you try to get enough black people to come together, you can't get enough black people to come together, because all you're going to get is a fight going to start between what we should call ourselves Hebrew, we should call ourselves Moor, we should call ourselves Nawab, we should call ourselves this and that. But you can't even agree on something to start any type of action to begin. How can that happen? How can you really start something when all you're doing literally is arguing and debating? That makes no sense. So you really can't start any real movement if you really can't come together on one idea. See, the thing is, every race can come together on one idea, start a movement, and get the job done and move on with their life. Whereas when it's time for us to come together to solve black people's problems, let's just say, as I said before, on black curriculum. Because one of the many problems was the miseducation of black people. How can you continue to still talk about we got to solve problems when you can't even agree on the curriculum to teach black people? So if you can't even agree on where we started, who started what, who did this when, the black woman is the black woman is that, if you can't even agree on that, then there's no point. Then that means that we're still slaves. When you can't even come to a common agreement on how to solve our problems, we're still slaves. And the only way to get away from that is you have to get to a point where I don't care about what you call yourself. You understand? We have to, when I say unplug, I mean literally unplug. I mean, you come on social media when it gets too drama filled, it's time to get off. You understand? Even if a person is not on social media, it's online. It's on television. Turn it off and read a book and do for self and do knowledge of self. Come with people of like mind to get away from celebrityism, because it's still elitism, period. It's still giving people the false sense of reality that these Negroes have made it and I can make it too. That's what that shit is. But at the end of the day, all it is giving you a false sense of reality. And at the end of the day, they're still slaves on television buck dancing for white people's entertainment. That's all it is. But the deeper science is the fact that these people are out here ushering us in to black genocide. It's just they're just doing it in a less obvious way. So I'm going up to see if there's any other questions. Yes, I don't see no more.
I don't see none. Does anyone on the conference have any more questions or statements? Go ahead. All right, I'm here. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Because just to go off to what you just said, I think you're asking a question. Just to did you ask the question, or are you still asking it? Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 No, but nothing's private. Nothing's private when it's on social media, it's on your phone. None of it is. All we're doing is coming together. That's it. All we're doing, I'm doing my best to get people to come together on the same idea and inform them on what's going on. That's it. I'm not gonna lie and say it's private. Why would I say something like that? It'd be a lie. Do realize when you look into your phone, you're being monitored. Yeah, you're being monitored. Just know that. I'm saying, get to a point where you use it less, and you're around human population more. It's like, for a perfect example, when you go out, sometimes this might be kind of weird, but sometimes everyone, because everyone brings their cell phone with them. Most of the time, people bring their cell phone with them everywhere they go. You go out, if you don't want to be tracked, sometimes put your phone somewhere and then come back and get it later, so they won't know exactly where you are all the time. Because just me looking into my phone talking, I'm still being monitored. That's still national security. When we're on Facebook, national security. Twitter, Instagram, national security. Everything is being recorded. That's reality. So it's still being done, still being talked about. This is still collecting data. So I know that, you know that, but it's time that we start talking about real conversation, regardless of who's saying what. At some point, as you said in agreement, we're gonna have to get off social media and come together and have real conversation. We're gonna have to take less pictures. Stop uploading so much of your life. You know what I'm saying? We get to a point where we're just basically performing for everyone, so everyone can see us. And that's still social engineering. You're still being socially engineered to show everybody what you're doing. Bottom line. And most people don't care because they just want to live their life. When it don't work like that. You have to get, you got to change your behavior and the things that you do in order for us to really solve this problem. See, because I could just say, well, how do you ask me, how do you end white supremacy? I say, okay, here's what you do. You go to the Federal Reserve and you blow up the Federal Reserve. You blow up the Federal Reserve Bank that's connected to Africa, that's connected to all the resources of Africa. How easy would that be? Very hard, right? So what do? As an alternative is you come together, and you come together of like mind, and you do like mind things, which is come together to create your own economic base and African-centered everything. And you get with people who have the same like mind thought process, and you do for self. That's what we need to start doing, but we keep making excuses because the first step, we can't even, like I said, you can't get past what to call yourself. How are you going to get to educating and caring for your children? Because the whole purpose of what we're doing is the children. And if we're not able to get that together, then we don't deserve to call ourselves nothing but still second class, permanent underclass. And that's where we still are until we begin to solve our problems. We can do it, but we have to become more undetectable. I'm not saying just completely get off of it altogether, but at some point we're gonna have to gradually get ourselves off of it, and that's reality. So if there's nothing else, I went in for like maybe an hour and a half, almost hour and 20 minutes. So I will shut it down. Thanks. So yeah, I'm gonna shut it down for now, man. And thanks to those who got on Non-Mind Radio on the live feed on Facebook and also on the conference call. So Hotep on both sides. Hotep.